Howdy folks, how's it going? Gabriel here. So this video is titled The Key to Understanding Reality. And I really think that this is a very powerful lesson when you really take it in and comprehend it for facing just life in general, whether it is challenges in life or seeking to create a pleasant, enjoyable, comfortable, abundant life for yourself. So the ultimate key to reality, in my view, is that the outer world, as we see it, is all a manifestation of consciousness. That the physical universe is a expression of the mind of God, basically. That the universe was created by God, is a part of God, and so it is an expression of God's consciousness. And our own personal individual experience within that creation, within this universe, is similarly an expression of our own individual consciousness. So whatever we are experiencing in life is not a matter of random events, but it is a creation of our own consciousness. And this concept is otherwise known as the law of attraction, and so it is a commonly, or becoming more commonly held understanding that the universe and our lives are not simply a matter of random occurrences and things happening to us, but that we are creating our own reality through our own vibration, through our own consciousness, and that we have the power and the responsibility to create our reality as we choose. So that is the basic concept, certainly not anything new for most people who might come across this video, but I wanted to jump into it a little bit deeper here. So the world as we experience it, the events that we experience in our lives are attracted to us, created by us, based on the vibration of our consciousness, our thoughts that we are sending out, and beyond that, because thought isn't all that there is to consciousness, that is only one aspect of consciousness. And so we are creating our reality not just through our conscious thoughts, but through the totality of our consciousness. So our conscious thoughts are really the tip of the iceberg, and there are much deeper elements to us, and much of our consciousness, a great majority of our consciousness, is within the subconscious. And so we are creating our reality not just through the thoughts that we are thinking, but through the full spectrum of our consciousness, much of which is unconscious to us. And so that is why it can seem so mysterious and frustrating, and why did this happen to me? Why am I creating this reality? Why am I in this situation? Why do I have these relationships? Why am I always broke? Whatever the circumstance is, when you're thinking, but I'm, I have a positive outlook. I'm treating people kindly, or I think that I have a positive view of myself. That may be true to an extent, but it may not be the whole story. And there is much going on within the subconscious that is affecting our reality, that is creating our reality, whether we realize it or not. And so the topic for this video came up from a comment under one of my videos, The Illuminati and How to Conquer Them, in which basically what I was saying was getting caught up in the whole conspiracy theory paradigm, and just getting totally drawn into that and wrapped up into that, and how can we conquer these bastards, and getting all riled up about it, etc., really is just feeding into the fear-based control system, because you're getting caught up in it, you're getting drawn into it, you're going to be creating that similar type of vibration within yourself in the course of getting lost in all these various conspiracy theories and the latest news story and who caused it. And I'm not saying that, you know, one shouldn't think about any of these things. I certainly do, but what might be more effective if you really want to make a change in the world and in the system that we have created here, is to branch off and do your own thing. And it might actually just be better to go meditate by a lake than to be you know, caught up in all this stuff going on, which quite frankly we really can't do much about for the most part. These various, you know, big world events being perpetrated by various governments and behind the scenes forces and all this stuff that you can just get totally you know, pissed off about and riled up about, and what can we do about this, and then you feel helpless and powerless to change things. And meanwhile, you're simply feeding into the scattered, fear-based, chaotic, paranoid, you know, frustrated, powerless vibration that is simply helping to feed this whole paradigm. And so if somebody commented under the video saying, you know, criticizing you for saying you should go meditate under a lake, and meanwhile, what about all this stuff that's happening and you're not doing anything about it? And so I commented replied to his comment, a paragraph or two, and that's kind of what I'm seeking to convey in this video, is what I said in response to it, which is that as long as you are seeking to change things in the outer world without doing any inner work, then you're basically going to be just kind of shuffling papers around. You can try to come up with a new political system, you can try to come up with a new economic system, a new religious system, a new social system, try to combat the forces here or there, write letters to the editor and you know, get involved in such and such action network, whatever. And I'm not saying that these are all things that one should not do, but as long as you are only focused on the outer world, then you're misunderstanding the key to reality, which is that everything is a manifestation of consciousness. And so if you aren't changing your consciousness, if you aren't focused within to some extent, if you don't have that basic understanding that the real changes need to happen within you, within me, within everybody, then you're just going to be on a treadmill, you know, perhaps making some positive progress here, but then something else bad pops up over here, and so you're obsessed with and mesmerized by and trapped within the outer world without understanding that everything that happens in the world is a result of consciousness, that all of the problems in the world, whether it's environmental destruction, overpopulation, lack of resources, economic unfairness, political instability, wars, famines, child abuse, domestic violence, all this stuff is a manifestation of human consciousness. And if you don't focus on and change the consciousness in some way, then nothing is ever going to really change. And the thing is, you can't change anybody else's consciousness. You can affect other people through your own vibration, but you can't go around changing other people's consciousnesses. And so what that leads back to ultimately is, all you can really do is focus on your own consciousness and seeking to evolve and change and progress and transform your own consciousness, your own state of being. And so that is really the most important thing. If everyone in the world had this understanding that the world as we know it is being created by our thoughts, our feelings, our beliefs, by our unseen, non-physical, metaphysical consciousness, and was thus seeking to change and affect and evolve their own consciousness in some way, then there would be rapid change. And so how else does that change start but with each individual taking the reins of their own being? Now, in saying this, I don't mean to imply at all that we should not do anything in the outer world. Because no matter what, we are doing something in the outer world. There's no way around that. As long as you are a human being in a human body here on planet Earth, then you are interacting with the outer world in some way. Even if you remove yourself from society and go live in a cave in the Himalaya mountains or something and just drink from a stream and eat bugs and plants you pick or whatever, you're still interacting with the physical realm. You're still breathing in the atoms. You're still taking in the water and the food, whatever your food source is, and you're still dependent on the sunshine and etc. So no matter what, we are going to be active in the outer world, but there needs to be a balance, and our outer actions will be inevitably shifted based on our inner transformation. And so first and foremost needs to be that inner transformation, and in the course of making genuine changes within, your views will change, your perspective will change, your thoughts will change, your feelings will change, your insights will change, how you interact with others will change. Everything about your life will change as a result of changing your inner being. And a very important thing to understand here, which I mentioned at the beginning of the video, is the reality of the subconscious. The fact that much of what is going on within us is subconscious, is not within our conscious mind. And so it is very important to be seeking to dive down into the subconscious as much as possible to come to a place of greater awareness and consciousness of what is really going on within you. And through that conscious intention, you can start to look deeper within. You can start to find deeper layers of your consciousness and notice more what is really motivating you, what is really happening at deeper levels. And by connecting with those deeper levels, then you can start to make changes at deeper levels. And one last thing that I want to mention here is that keep in mind that most of what we were talking about when we were talking about our lives, whether we're talking about our economic situation or our romantic situation or our social situation, our job, our living situation, most of the things that come up in our lives that we are wrestling with, that perhaps we're hopefully having some success with, etc., is related to people. Very little that we do in our lives is disconnected from society. There are certainly a few things. Perhaps your spiritual path is something that you don't really talk about with anybody else, and you just go off in the woods and meditate on your own or whatever. So there are certainly elements of our life that are separate to some extent from society, but most of the situations in our lives are based on people, our interactions with people, and our state of being, how we come across, has a great deal to do with how we affect people and how people affect us, and the success or lack thereof that we have in seeking to achieve what we want to achieve or get what we want is about how we're interacting with people. And when you're talking about interactions with people, then to some extent you're talking about interactions on a subconscious level. It isn't just the words that you say, it is how you affect others in ways that aren't going to be readily apparent to you, but your subconscious is going to have a great impact on how you're interacting with others, how you're relating with others, and thus how they respond to you. And so therefore, that's just one very specific, direct way to understand how your own consciousness is creating your own reality out there, because other people are responding to you based on your vibration, based on your presentation, and beneath your presentation, based on what's really going on within you. And so this is how you can make a practical connection between how affecting your consciousness can affect your reality, is to understand that when you alter your vibration, when you change yourself within, then this is going to change your interactions with others. This is going to change your relationships. This is going to change your simple little interactions here or there, which can make big differences in your life, whether people step forward and decide to help you out in some way. Say you're traveling somewhere and you're in a sticky situation of some sort, and how you deal with that situation might mean the difference between whether this person decides to keep on walking, or whether they decide, this person seems worthy of helping out, and then they stop and they help you find a place or deal with someone who's hassling you or whatever. And so this is just one very direct, practical way to keep in mind the fact that your consciousness is creating your reality, because we're interacting with people every day, pretty much, and those interactions determine our life to a great extent. And so when you start making changes within, you will start making changes in your interactions with others, and people will respond to you differently. And you can actually see, if you're being conscious of about your reality and watching what's going on, then you can see how such and such a dynamic, say it's between your parents or your romantic relationship or with friends or whatever, then you'll see you make those changes within, and then you can see that day, in the coming weeks, whatever, a shift occur in those relationships, and perhaps even shifts occur within others based on changing your vibration. By doing this inner work and focusing within and looking deeper within and seeking where you can, where you have your blind spots, your denial, your deficiencies, your self-hatred, your denied emotions, negative belief systems and thinking patterns, and all this stuff that is going on within our consciousness and is creating our reality, whether we realize it or not. So, how do you change your consciousness then? Well, that's a subject for lots of other videos that I'm talking about in plenty of my other videos, and lots of other people are as well. And so, just keep seeking, keep your eyes open, but having that simple awareness, consciousness creates the world. And how can you make changes within to make changes without? The outer world is simply a mirror of consciousness. What's going on is consciousness seeking to understand itself, and the outer world is simply a mirror, a channel, a means of consciousness coming to greater understanding of itself and finding greater healing and balance within. So, thanks for watching. Take care.